Hi, I'm Jared Thompson, a filmmaker, cinematographer, and photographer from Houston, Texas. What made me get into film? That's a really interesting question. So, when I was in high school, it was a guy named Fernell. Um, he's an actor, and I went to like a special type of high school where everyone went there for like a specific art area. Mine was band, his was theater, and he had a Rebel T2i, and I thought that was the most fascinating thing in the world. So I remember every sixth period, I would always want to play with his camera. He didn't mind. I got pretty cool with him and his dad and different things. So when it came around Christmas time, I let my dad know that I wanted a camera. And he was like, son, you want a camera? I get you a camera, son. So I remember waiting on the Amazon truck to pull up. I was in my grandmother's house. That was one of the most happiest days ever, man. And ever since then, I've been taking photos. I remember right after I got my camera that January in high school, I think I was junior. Either I was a freshman or a junior. I know I wasn't a senior and I wasn't a sophomore, but it was either freshman year or junior year. February, I made like 800 or 900 bucks. Mind you, I was a security guard working at the museum making $50 a day, just working on weekends. So that was a lot of money to me at the time. Then I was at a party. One of my friends was having a party at school, and I saw this guy taking photos. I was like, "How are you shooting in here with that lens?" He was like, "Well, because it's full frame." I was like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." To me, it didn't. I mean, it made sense to me, but I didn't have a full frame camera yet. I was still shooting on the Canon 60D. So um, he gave me his business card. I told him I'll be contacting you. But what happened was I lost the business card. So weeks and weeks went by, and I was constantly trying to remember his name. And I was like, "Oh, Andre." So I typed in, and then I had to think real hard to find his name. But once I typed it in Google, he popped up. I called him, let him know I wanted to learn. He was skeptical at first, but then he kind of opened up, and man, pretty much opened up his knowledge base to me. He opened up his home to me. If I ever needed anything, he was always there, man. And I think it's really important that everyone has a mentor to guide them or to get a good head start to see what's really going on in the industry, how they handle different issues and clients and just their work ethic. It's good to have something to base it off of because you don't have anything to base it off of. You're basically blindfolded, throwing darts at the wall, just hoping something sticks. So yeah, we started working together, doing a lot of different productions, a lot of photo shoots, and I did a lot of shadowing him. We did a ton of um, me being his assistant. I feel like that was very important to my career because I got to learn lighting uh, the hard way, not having a clue what you're doing. So once I started learning relationships on ratios of lighting and everything, it was just a continuum. It just kept flowing. So then he started having me do photo shoots when he couldn't be there or taking on some of his other clients or just the work overload for his company. So that just led down, kept going down a rabbit hole, constantly shooting, constantly learning. Um, so how did I become a filmmaker? Back to that. Um, so I got robbed. I got carjacked. Um, And it's funny because Andre was the first person I called because where I got robbed at was literally probably about a half a mile from his house. Getting robbed was definitely one of the lowest points of my life. Um, Cause it's really degrading, man. imagine you being generous to someone. So, the guy asked for a lighter. When I gave him the lighter, it was a gun to my head. So that changed the way that I treated people, acted towards people, how nice I was. I felt like my heart left away, like to the point to where I didn't care about anything anymore. I didn't care about people. I mean, I cared about the people really close to me. Um, Man, that was the most downward spiral I've ever been in. I went and talked to a therapist. They referred me to a psychologist. Um, they're constantly telling me all of these diagnoses. It's just letters and numbers. And then they end up giving me medicine I can't pronounce. And that just put me in an altered state of mind for a really long time. Um, Around that time, I started smoking weed. Um, I was telling my psychologist that the medicines, I didn't like how they made me feel. I felt drunk. And then at this time, I hadn't drank before, really, besides, what you get from your parents or whatever. So that altered state of mind was too much for me. I felt like it made me psychotic in a way. Like I'd be driving and man, I had to sell all of my guns because I almost shot this old lady at a stoplight because I thought anytime I would see a door open at a red light, I would think somebody's trying to rob me. And I literally had her in my sights. And then after I left there, I literally drove to the pawn shop to sell. I used to ride with an AR-15 pistol and a Glock in my car after this. So after selling my guns, it just I felt really vulnerable, and I just felt like, why would anybody do this to me? Because it was more than the car, um, it was more than the gear. It was what I went through, the journey of, you know, the whole photography journey, man. It just felt like it was gone in an instant. It just felt like it was just taken away from me. It was my whole life, and yeah, so I started smoking around that time, and I guess I developed a habit, but that was just me coping with, it was me coping with what was going on in the inside. It was definitely one of the hardest things the hardest incident I've ever dealt with in my life. And like I say, it just felt like I took 1,000 steps back, and it took me 10 years to just make those 1,000 steps back. And now I'm trying to move forward, and that's what film is helping me do.
Do you feel like you have made it back from that, or are you still on the journey back, recouping and recovering from what that put you through?
I feel like personally, I feel like there are some things that I don't feel like my mind is completely right still from taking all of those chemicals and medicines and different things. Like I feel like my memory has taken a toll. It's taken a toll on my memory. That could also be in my head because it's weird because I remember everything in my life detailed, very detailed up until that incident. And it's like a 5 to 6 year period that I don't remember at all. So I just like feel like it's still a journey, but I feel like it was a lesson learned. Um, Definitely a lesson learned. It altered my mind state so much. But now I take steps to be proactive. Now that my mind is kind of back, I don't necessarily need an AR-15 pistol in my front seat, but I definitely keep my pistol because it's very important to stay ahead of the bad guy and protect yourself. Of course, you have the police and different things, but those are regular people too. And then the police are not there when you need them. That's a reaction. Oh, okay, I came home from my house getting broken into. Call the police. But if you're getting robbed right now, you need to be able to be vigilant, have your head on a swivel to watch everyone, to have an idea of what they may do before it even happens, and to be able to, draw your weapon and disarm the threat. So I'm a big advocate of, I hate gun control. That's the stupidest thing anybody's ever come up with. That's a politician thing for them to get more votes. You cannot change the Constitution, one. Two, the only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. All of these mass shootings and everything that have happened only continue to go on because you have people that are scared of weapons, people that don't carry weapons and think the police are there to serve them, which they are, and you pay out of your taxes for them to do. But think about it. If you was a police officer, you got a call on the radio. It's a guy just shot 30 people in a grocery store. You gonna go in there by yourself? Absolutely not. Just like the school shooting with those elementary kids, I definitely understand what took them so long to take action. You're in a town like Uvalde, that's not a big, um, it's not a huge town or whatever. They don't may not have the resources, and to be able to just quickly disarm a threat like that. And man, you got to think about it. When those gunshots are going off and different things like that, would you be able to react in the right state of mind, saying like, "I need to go save these children," or you want to save your life? You want to save your own life because I don't know how many people out there have tried to commit suicide, but that's a really hard thing to do. Suicide, like you think you would be able to kill yourself, but you really won't because the will to live is way stronger than you think. The people that are actually successful in suicide have attempted it multiple, multiple times before they actually go through with it. So just want y'all to realize that will to live, and then if you're actually in a situation like that, that you want to be able to protect yourself and your family. Just serving my clients and seeing them really happy with something that didn't take me much effort. How they look or how I made them look, and how they never imagined to look like that, or how they never viewed themselves. Like, I can make anyone look sexy. So I just feel like that is the high point of what I value the most as a photographer, seeing my clients enjoy the product that they paid me to do.